Let's cross live to London now, where the city's mayor has come to the defence of Nobel scientist Sir Tim Hunt. Now, you'll remember he faced a worldwide backlash after claiming the trouble with girls in the lab was that you fall in love with them, they fall in love with you, and when you criticise them, they cry. Sir Tim resigned, but Boris Johnson now wants him reinstated. UK correspondent Mel Davies is with us now. Mel, great to have you along. All right, so what has sparked this defence from Boris?
Well, he basically says that that Sir Tim Hunt has been a victim of the British temptation to be offended. I just love Boris Johnson's passion for the metaphorical, because this is how he actually explained it. All the ferocious stinging bees of the Twitter sphere have descended on one poor victim and stung him half to death.
Oh, he's fantastic,
so what he's
isn't
done
he?
in support
Lovely analogy.
of Sir Tim Hunt, he's just, I love it. What he's done in support, though, is he's gone to the world's expert in crying. There is such a thing, and he's based in the Netherlands. And this researcher has found that women on average cry 30 to 64 times a year. So on average, that's about 5 times a month.
Okay, yep.
Men, on the other hand, cry between 6 and 17 times a year. But there's also a scientific theory that apparently men have perhaps different shaped tear ducts, so they have the ability to retain tears for longer.
Oh, so they could be crying inside and just holding in water. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Maybe,
but that is
retaining water, yeah.
Melissa, how often do you cry?
Less than 5 times a month. I'd say I'm on the lower end of the scale.
That's very interesting. Less than 5 times a month.
But probably more than most men.
I think I would cry less than 5 times a month as well. I might cry on average maybe once a month. That's probably quite a lot for a man, isn't it? Yeah, I'm at the higher end.
It is, and it depends on the cry too, doesn't it? Because, you know, it might be a really sad movie and it's just a little bit of a lump in the throat. Does that count?
I think it does. Well, with me it does, and it's almost always I'm crying at movies. All right, that's very interesting, isn't it? So is there any sign, I suppose it's early days, any sign that Sir Tim is going to get his job back?
I think there's a fair bit of support behind it. I mean, there has been, as Boris said, the stinging bees on Twitter sphere, but there has also been a lot of support saying, look, if you actually look at his comments, he was joking. He wasn't.
Exactly.
He was actually talking about the trouble he has had, because the backstory is he's actually married to a woman he met in the lab, so it was his colleague. I mean, I can see it from both sides, but I think there are a lot of people that sympathise with him now.
Yeah, people just hunt out outrage, and the hunting ground is the internet. Right, Jeremy Clarkson has returned to the BBC to finish off some voiceovers and a special for the BBC.
Yeah, who would have thought he would have gone back? And he hasn't been paid for it, because apparently this is just voiceover that related to some previous filming that he had been doing. So BBC have basically said, look, under your previous contract, you have to come back and do this, and they're going to compile it all into a one-off special so that they can finish off that show. It doesn't look at this stage like Top Gear is going to continue with James May and Richard Hammond. It seems that they have turned down some big money to carry on with the show. They don't want to do it, apparently, without Jeremy Clarkson. So who knows what's going to happen with the future of that show.
I mean, obviously the talk around the traps is that they've done some kind of a deal, or they're on the cusp of a deal with Netflix. But do we know the kind of money the BBC is talking about with Richard Hammond and James May?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't recall. But, I mean, they would be, I guess it would be millions and millions. I don't know how much exactly they would be offering them, but they must be getting a hell of a deal from Netflix.
Yeah, they must be.
They're turning down this BBC offer.
Mind you, they come with a fantastic audience, which is what Netflix are obviously prepared to pay for. All right, finally, it turns out a record amount of reward money, actually £600,000, has been paid to informants who dob people in for tax evasion.
Yeah, it's up 50% on the year before. So this is over the 2014-2015 period. There's been about 100,000 calls. And what happens is people who dob in kind of big win, wealthy tax dodgers get between $100 and $2,000 as a reward. Now, it might not surprise you that the largest percentage of people that actually call in tax dodgers are bitter ex-wives or husbands or former colleagues.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that you can actually get financially rewarded for this, but there might be some perhaps current partners out there who decide to cash in now that they know.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think you can safely say that bitter ex-wives and husbands are not doing it for the financial reward, are they? They're doing it because they're bitter. Melissa, thank you very much. Always good to talk to you. Melissa Davies, our Europe correspondent.